Edward Laos. Welcome to Travel Talk, filmed at the Peachtree Rose Marketing Studios and hosted by the hotel guide publisher, Edward Laos.
Good morning, everybody. Edward Laos here with the Hotel Guide and Travel Talk. I'm really excited. This is actually one of our first episodes of 2026. I got my good friend, Mr. Scott Eddy. He's actually one of our board of advisors for the Hotel Guide, but also one of our dear friends and supporters. And, over here in Texas, we're huge fans and supporters of what Scott's doing as well. But Scott, how are you doing? What corner of the world are you coming from today?
I'm doing very good. I am in Thailand right now, and actually tomorrow morning I'm going to Bali for a week, and then I have a new client over there, and then I'm coming back to Bangkok, and I'll be here until the end of the month. And then I fly back to Miami for 3 days, and then I'll be in Jamaica for 2 weeks, and then Bahamas for a week.
Oh, yeah. So you're starting off 2026 the way you ended 2025. Traveling.
Slow and steady. Slow.
Hey, well, your tan's looking good. So that's a good thing for all of us here. But excuse me, one of the big things that we were thinking of and talking about was marketing in 2026, and what are some of the big differences that are going on out there. We said, hey, let's put together a list of some of the things that are really happening, good things and bad things, and how hotels, properties, resorts, could really just kind of go out there and get better. You kind of came up with a list, and maybe let's kind of just dive into that, get some good meat to the content and see what we can kind of come up with. So I'll let you take it away, and I'll kind of interject from there.
Yeah, I think that there's some core framing that needs to happen for hotels in 2026. And, I came up with these basically the seven marketing rules that every hotel needs to live by in 2026. Number one, hotels, they need to stop thinking like advertisers and start thinking like media companies. Because in 2026, hotels are not competing with other hotels. They're competing with Netflix, YouTube, creators, short form dopamine. If you don't earn that attention, you simply do not exist. And this means building a content engine, not running campaigns. Campaigns end, content compounds. And the goal is not a viral post. The goal is to build familiarity and trust before the guest even searches dates.
Yeah.
Every hotel should have a living media library that sales, marketing, PR, and even HR can pull from daily.
Yeah, I think I love when we were talking about this offline a little bit. I love what you were saying about turning it into a media company, because a lot of hospitality brands are just missing the boat when it comes to that. And your content, if people are not following you yet, they need to follow you, especially on LinkedIn and what you're doing there. The content that you put out on a daily basis is just gold. And the stuff that's coming out of this podcast on this episode is going to be gold as well. But I love what you're saying about content and how it compounds. A lot of people forget the simple things are also the easy things not to do. But I love when you're talking about when you're doing content that compounds, only good things can happen from it. The other takeaway I think on that comment, Scott, is I love how multiple departments have access to the assets.
It's so important. It's so important. Normally people they're so greedy with what they created, what they own. And it's like, this is a team effort.
Yeah.
If the team doesn't win as a team, what are you doing it for? Correct.
We got to get rid of the silos. I've talked about that in my coaching side of it with hospitality coaching, but silos they don't work. And when you're working together, it's just a different ball game. So that's number one. I love it. What's your second one?
Well, the second one is aesthetic content is dead without outcome-driven storytelling. So beautiful hotels, they fail every day because beauty without context doesn't convert. And that's the simple truth. In 2026, content must answer one of the three questions every time. Why should I care? Why should I trust you? And why should I book now? If your Instagram grid is perfect, but your booking engine is quiet, your content is failing. Hotels must design content backwards from business outcomes, not vibes. If you look at my Instagram account, my grid is so messy because having a perfect grid does nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can go to my account page and say, wow, that's beautiful. That's all you get. That's it.
Mhm.
I don't care about that. I don't care if you
Yep.
think my grid is beautiful. I care if I get hired by you, do I provide ROI for you? That's
Yeah.
the only thing that matters in my life. Other than that, I'm just having fun with my content. One day I might want to pick up my phone and look at it and do a video. One day I might be flying my drone and get something great. But I'm not going to time that so the grid looks perfect. Those days are
Yeah.
gone.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. I think one of the big things is people try to be perfect, and perfect just doesn't work in this world anymore. And you know what?
It look perfect.
It doesn't look. Yeah, it doesn't exist. You're right. You're trying to create an image that isn't real, and I think consumers nowadays are so savvy that they know that that's not how it really is all the time. And so there are mess ups. There things screw ups. Heck, I've been coughing on this podcast already. It is what it is. Coughing on cue right there.
There you go.
But I mean, you're golden when it talks to that, and I love what you do with just being different and unique in everything you're doing with your posting. So great content right there. What do you think about number 3?
Number 3 is social media is now the top of the booking funnel. It's not only brand awareness. The biggest mistake hotels make is they're still treating social as only awareness. And in 2026, social is search, it's research, it's validation, and it's decision making.
Yeah.
Guests discover hotels on social, they validate through comments and creator content, then book directly or indirectly. But if your social content doesn't answer objections, show real humans, and remove doubt, you're leaking revenue every day.
How easy is it for hotels to change that around, and what do they need to do to kind of get that and kind of get to where they need to be, even if it's just some simple things?
They need a buy-in of belief. And what I mean by that is the whole team needs to buy into this theory. They can't have one person. So I've dealt with this numerous times. One person in marketing, say the social media lead,
Correct.
believes everything that I say, wants to go all in, let's do it. But the director of marketing has been there for 25 years. She's old school. She's a dinosaur. She likes to going the way she's going, even though it's driving the brand into the ground. And she's fighting an uphill battle every single day. And you know what happens? You eventually lose that person and they go to a brand that appreciates them. So first and foremost, you need a buy-in from everybody.
Yeah.
But once you have that buy-in, then you just need to come up with a strategy. Most hotels do not have a marketing strategy. They may have things they want to discuss, but they don't have a strategy.
Yeah.
And having a content calendar is not a strategy, just so everybody knows.
Correct.
You actually have to have a strategy. And you got to be able to pivot on the move. So what if something comes up, or what if something's trending, or what if something is happening locally? You have to be able to say, okay, today this is on the content calendar, but you know what? This is going on right now. I'm doing this.
Yeah.
You have to be able to do that.
You do. And I think that's the premise of social media and digital marketing, is to be able to shift on the fly. That's the great thing about that. That's why you can be nimble, compete with the big boys, even if you're a small kid on the block. But if you do it right, you can do things to the next level. And that's some great wisdom right there. I love the fact that buy-in matters. I do see what you're saying about some walls being hit in upper management is like that sometimes, but it's good to know that there are brands out there that actually recognize that and understand, hey, we want to go to a different place and a different level. So those are 3 good ones so far. What's your number 4 on the list?
I will punish lazy brands more than ever and reward intentional ones in 2026. Now, what I mean by this is AI doesn't replace marketing team. It exposes weak ones. In 2026, AI surfaces brands that are consistent, clear, and trusted. Now, if your hotel has no point of view, no story, and no emotional positioning, AI is just going to skip right over you.
Yeah.
Hotels must optimize for AI discovery by being talked about, tagged, reviewed, shared, and trusted by humans. AI follows humans, not the other way around.
Yep.
And before you ask, and before everybody's wondering, well, how do I know how to make AI content? How do I know how to get discovered by AI? Well, there's about 1 billion videos on YouTube that are free that are teaching this exact same thing, which is exactly how I learn. I engross myself every day, 3, 4 hours a day on YouTube just to learn things that I don't know,
Yeah.
enforce things that I already know, think new tactics. Like, I don't care who I'm learning from. They could be a 12-year-old kid from Minnesota, or they could be a 60-year-old in Australia. I don't care.
Yeah.
As long as I'm taking something away and I leave smarter than I was, it's a success.
Yep. You bring up a great point, because that is a premise of why we even do these podcasts, why we do some of our talks, is if somebody can glean one thing better for listening to what we're doing, then we're doing our job. Because then that compound effect happens. Now you've taken something, you've inputted that to your personal brand, but you're also sharing that with all of your clients as well as I'm doing the same thing with the hotel guide clients. Is how are we being unique and being different? So AI does have that ability to go out there and take the human approach, but it all comes back to the humans that go and do it. And if people can recognize that it's not a replacement tool, it's an addition tool, things are going to get a lot better when it comes to marketing and how they're building their brand. So that's some great stuff right there. So that was number 4. Where are we on?
Yes.
What's number 5?
5 is employee culture is now a marketing channel. Now, what I mean by that is guests trust staff more than ads, period. In 2026, hotels that showcase real team members, leadership visibility, and internal pride will outperform glossy brands every day of the week. Now, when staff believes in the brand, guests feel it instantly.
Yeah.
Culture isn't born, it isn't an internal initiative anymore. It's front-facing asset. So I live full-time in hotels. I can feel it automatically when I walk into a hotel if they're doing things right. There's nothing you can pinpoint. It's a feeling.
Yep.
How do the people at the front desk eyeball you when you walk in? How are the door people, if they even have door people, how are they greeting you? If a staff member passes you by in the lobby, how are they looking at you, greeting you, talking
Yep.
to you, saying good morning to, like, you can tell immediately. The hotel lobby is the epicenter of everything. And it's so important to harness that employee culture. And it starts from within.
Mm-hmm.
How does ownership and leadership treat their employees? That is how the employees treat the guests.
Yep.
You can't treat an employee like they're a thing and expect an employee to treat the guests like he's the greatest human on the planet. It's impossible.
Now, I agree with you on that. Culture is so hugely important to any business, but particularly in the hospitality business. The word hospitality is in it, meaning, so
Yeah.
I think, when you're talking about that, I think this is probably one of the first things talking about marketing that you talk about culture. A lot of people talk about how do you market, what's your brand, no, this is about the people. If you don't have the people to back up everything you're saying, it means nothing. You've wasted time, you wasted energy, and you've got a team that is going to they're going to keep changing ships. They're just going to keep moving on. And guess, like you said, you're a professional traveler, and you can tell when you walk into a hotel if you're feeling that home feeling or not. And so that's a great one right there. I really like that culture one, number 5. So what do we have for number 6?
Number 6 is influencer marketing. They must move from exposure to ownership. And what I mean by that is one-off influencer trips are mostly a waste. You have the successful ones, but they're mostly a waste. In 2026, hotels need long-term creator partnerships where content is owned, reused, repurposed, and turned into sales assets. The smartest hotels treat creators like production partners, not billboard rentals. if you can't reuse the content for ads, for sales decks, for landing pages, and AI training, you basically overspent. So I work with hotels all around the world. I just told you I'm going to Jamaica the first part of February. This is a hotel that I work with. It's a hotel. It's a very close friend of mine, and he owns two hotels, one in Kingston and one in Montego Bay. And this is a hotel that I work with every day or every year. And we've done the photo shoots, we've done digital strategies, we've done campaigns. We've this one's going to be a long form video shoot. I mean, these are the type of partnerships that you need.
Yeah.
Because when guests continually see me at the same property all the time, the buy-in is trusted a million times more than just visiting one time and never going again.
Yeah. Now, again, it goes back to that consistency, and people forget that. That's one of the number one things in success is just being consistent, showing up. And the one and dones, they're not viable in the long haul. Maybe you get a little peak here and there, but then you're trying to recreate and do things differently down the road. And how can we recapture that? Even if it is a successful influencer one-off. So I love what you're saying there. I think it's important that guests understand that, but also from the marketing side, hospitalities and their brands need to understand that as well. So great takeaway there. What's the last one that you have on the list?
The last one is direct bookings will be won emotionally, not financially. So price parity will always exist.
Yeah.
Emotion is where hotels win. And in 2026, direct bookings are driven by trust, familiarity, belief. Guests book direct when they feel like they already know you. That only happens through consistent storytelling, not discounts.
No, I agree. When you start talking about dollars and trying to be the discount hub, you will never get out of there. You just won't. You stay there. Guests expect that. They know, I'm going to go to this brand because I just got to complain a little bit, or I got to say I want a cheaper price, and that's what I want. Where people do buy on emotion and then they validate on reason, but it's an emotional pull. Travel is an emotional getaway. It is immersive. Firsthand. Every time you travel somewhere, it is a change. It is a lifestyle, whether you're, on the road 300 days out of the year, or you go, for a few weekends here and there. Travel is just an experiential tool. And going into 2026, we already know experiential travel alone is going next level. And so when you're talking about that, I think that's hugely, hugely important. I love these takeaways. I love these 7 tips. And I think they're massively valuable to not just guests, brands, but just across life. You're talking about these are good marketing ideas and tips straight from you. I know we're running a little bit out of time, but any last thoughts, any final words of wisdom or ideas that you got?
So I have 2 pieces that I'm going to leave you with. Hotels that don't invest in content libraries, you're basically losing market share day by day. You don't see it, you don't feel it, but I promise you in 18 to 24 months, you're going to feel it in a big way.
Yeah.
So you need to get on that. And also, don't underestimate how much AI can amplify your brand. So really understand the how AI extracts your words that you speak, the content, the captions on your videos, the captions that you write. Understand how much different AEO is versus SEO. Really, really dive deep into these things and learn as much as you can. You cannot learn enough about AI in hospitality. And just go on YouTube. It's free, guys. It's free.
Yeah. No, man, Scott, you just laid down some wisdom in these 20 minutes. This is going to be one of our top watched videos. I can tell you that right now, just because of what you're laying down. But you're not that guy that just says it. You're the guy that does it. And I think that's the important thing, because a lot of brands will say certain things, but they don't do it. And so people look at actions as well. And so that's part of this whole process too. Not only we're going to give you the tools, the ideas from the Hotel Guide and from Scott and Scott Eddy, but it's going to be about what are we doing that's actually happening from our end too. So Scott, man, it's been an absolute pleasure having you on the podcast again today. You're actually you're the number one podcast guy I've had. I mean, you've been on, this is your third or fourth time. So like, yeah, you're moving up the food chain there. But we want to thank you for being on, and it's been an absolute pleasure. But to all of our listeners and readers out there, you know the drill. Follow us at thehotelguide.com. Like, subscribe, comment. You got to share this, guys, in your network. This is some gold, marketing gold for hospitality brands, hotels, resorts, and DMOs. Great stuff. Scott, again, thank you so much for being on our show today.
Thanks for having me, man.
All right, everybody, take care. Until next time, we'll talk soon.